तो सबसे पहले मैं ये जानना चाहूँगी कि दोनों ही जगह पे काम करना कैसा रहा? हाउ वाज़ योर एक्सपीरियंस?
कॉलेज में ही था तो मुझे बीसीजी में 2 बार इंटर्नशिप करने का मौका मिला एंड देन आई गॉट एन ऑफर टू जॉइन देम फुल टाइम।
एक प्राइवेट सेक्टर के कंपैरिज़न में गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में अगर आप टेक्नोलॉजी की फील्ड में काम करते हैं, तो क्या-क्या चैलेंजेस आपको फेस
जो डिफरेंस है वो तो बहुत ऑब्वियस एक तरह से भी था और एक बहुत अनऑब्वियस डिफरेंस भी था।
इसी चीज़ को अगर हम एक प्राइवेट सेक्टर से कंपेयर करें, तो उसमें क्या-क्या आप डिफरेंस देखेंगे वर्किंग स्टाइल में, वर्किंग स्ट्रक्चर?
द प्राइवेट सेक्टर में आप यू आर कॉम्पेंसेटेड मोर इमीडिएटली एंड मोर हैंडसमली फॉर योर एफर्ट। इन द पब्लिक सेक्टर द रिवॉर्ड्स आर मोर इंटरनल।
राइट।
द इम्पैक्ट दैट यू क्रिएट इज द रिवॉर्ड दैट यू गेट।
What is your special message, especially to the Gen Zs who want to start something of their own?
One of the things which my generation lacked and the generations before mine lacked even more was there was an inordinate amount of reverence.
स्वागत है आपका फाउंडर स्टॉक के एक और एपिसोड में। और आज जो हम जिस टॉपिक पे बात करेंगे अपने फाउंडर स्टॉक के इस एपिसोड में, वो है फाइनेंस की और टेक्नोलॉजी की, क्योंकि दोनों ही चीज़ें हमारी लाइफ से कहीं ना कहीं जुड़ी हैं। हम ये नहीं कहेंगे कि अगर हम किसी बड़ी कंपनी के साथ या कॉर्पोरेट के साथ एसोसिएटेड है तो ही दोनों ये टर्म्स हमारी लाइफ में आएंगे। अगर हम एक छोटे से बच्चे से पूछें तो जो वो फ़ोन पर देख रहा है अपनी पोएम, उसको वो उसका लिए उसकी टेक्नोलॉजी है, और वो जो पैसे खर्च रहा है वो उसका फाइनेंस है। तो चलिए आज इसलिए हम बुलाते हैं अपने एक स्पेशल गेस्ट को, जो हमें बताएंगे इस नए कॉन्सेप्ट के बारे में। और आज जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं उनकी स्पेशलिटी ये है कि उन्होंने क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी बनाई थी 2009 में, जब हमने इसके बारे में सोचा भी नहीं था, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा अनकॉमन ये टेक्नोलॉजी थी, बहुत ज़्यादा अनकॉमन ये टर्म था, जो कि आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा रेंज में है। तो चलिए जल्दी से बुलाते हैं उत्कर्ष को और करते हैं उनसे ढेर सारी बातें।
Sure.
ओके, सो उत्कर्ष, सबसे पहले तो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर बीइंग विद अस ऑन आवर फाउंडर्स टॉक एपिसोड। हाउ आर यू?
I'm very well. Thank you, Tauraji. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you.
सेम हियर। उत्कर्ष, थोड़ा बात कर लेते हैं आपकी जर्नी के बारे में, क्योंकि इट हैज़ बीन अ कोलोसल एक्सपीरियंस जो मैं आपकी प्रोफाइल में देख रही थी। यू स्टार्टेड योर करियर विद बॉस्टन, और आपका इंडियन इनोवेशन इकोसिस्टम में भी बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का आपका एक कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा। तो सबसे पहले मैं ये जानना चाहूँगी कि दोनों ही जगह पे काम करना कैसा रहा? हाउ वाज़ योर एक्सपीरियंस? और क्या एक मेजर डिफरेंस आपने दोनों जगह काम करके नोटिस किया?
जी, सो तनुज, एज़ यू सेड, मेरी करियर की शुरुआत बॉस्टन में हुई थी बिकॉज़ मैं वहीं पे पढ़ने के लिए गया था। आई डिड माय अंडरग्रेड
राइट।
स्टडीज़ इन एमआईटी। वहाँ पे मैंने इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग और कंप्यूटर साइंस की पढ़ाई की। और
हुँ,
जब
हुँ।
मैं अपनी कॉलेज में ही था तो मुझे बीसीजी में 2 बार इंटर्नशिप करने का मौका मिला एंड देन आई गॉट एन ऑफर टू जॉइन देम फुल टाइम। सो आई वर्क विद
राइट।
बीसीजी इन देयर बॉस्टन ऑफिस। और वहाँ पे मैं तकरीबन 10 साल तक बाहर रहा। फिर मैं इंडिया में आके मैंने नीतीश जी के साथ काम किया बिहार में 1 साल के लिए, बिफोर गोइंग टू ऑक्सफोर्ड फॉर माय मास्टर्स। और फिर एमबीए करने के बाद लंदन में कुछ सालों तक काम करने के बाद मैं वापस इंडिया आ गया। और तो मैं जब इंडिया में आया हूँ, मैं तकरीबन 2017 में, तो दैट वाज़ माय फर्स्ट वर्क एक्सपीरियंस इन इंडिया इन मेनी वेज़। हालाँकि मैं बड़ा यहीं हुआ हूँ, दिल्ली में बड़ा हुआ हूँ, लेकिन मेरी पूरी एडल्ट लाइफ यूएसए और यूके में ही कटी थी। तो मुझे जितना लगा था कि डिफरेंस होगा, उतना ज़्यादा डिफरेंस है नहीं। इंडिया में द लेवल ऑफ प्रोफेशनलिज्म दैट आई एनकाउंटर, वेदर इट इज़ इन बॉम्बे और इन दिल्ली, the respect for commitments, the ability to be task focused and goal focused at the same time, वो इंडिया और यूके या इंडिया और यूएस में मुझे कोई खास डिफरेंस दिखा नहीं। एंड स्पेशली बॉम्बे जैसे शहर में जहाँ पे कि मैं रहता हूँ, वहाँ पे बहुत ही ज़्यादा एक प्रोफेशनल एथिक्स है, बहुत ही ज़्यादा
राइट।
कमिटमेंट की एक वैल्यू है, जो कि
राइट।
एक एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए एक बहुत वैल्यूएबल चीज़ है।
राइट। उत्कर्ष, जैसा आपने मेंशन किया कि आपने बिहार में भी काफ़ी काम किया, और मैं जैसे आपकी प्रोफाइल देख रही थी, सो यू वर्क फॉर द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इकोसिस्टम बिहार का गुड गवर्नेंस का आपने एक इकोसिस्टम
जी।
लॉन्च डेवलप के लिए काम किया था। तो सबसे पहले तो मैं ये पूछना चाहूँगी कि आपका वर्किंग एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा? और एक प्राइवेट सेक्टर के कंपैरिजन में एक गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में अगर आप टेक्नोलॉजी की फील्ड में काम करते हैं, तो क्या-क्या चैलेंजेस आपको फेस करने पड़ते हैं?
आई थिंक वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन तौर जी। मैं पटना गया था, उसके पहले जो मैं नौकरी कर रहा था वो न्यूयॉर्क में था। आई वाज वर्किंग इन अ हेज फंड इन कनेटिकट कॉल्ड ब्रिजवाटर एसोसिएट्स, जो कि दुनिया का लार्जेस्ट मैक्रो हेज फंड है। और वहां से मैं सीधे पटना गया, और पटना में जहां मैं काम कर रहा था वो सेंटर फॉर गुड गवर्नेंस, जो कि नीतीश जी ने लॉन्च किया था। और
राइट।
जो डिफरेंस है वो तो बहुत ऑब्वियस एक तरह से भी था और एक बहुत अनऑब्वियस डिफरेंस भी था। एक ऑब्वियस डिफरेंस था कि जो वहाँ किसी भी सरकारी सेटअप में काम का पेस बहुत डिफरेंट होता है एंड
राइट।
बाहर से देख के लगता है कि ऐसा क्यों है, बट जब आप अंदर काम करते हैं तो आपको समझ में आता है कि सरकार का जो इम्पैक्ट फुटप्रिंट है वो इतना लार्ज है एंड द नंबर ऑफ लाइव्स दैट यू कैन इम्पैक्ट विद इवन अ स्मॉल डिसीजन इज सो लार्ज दैट हर एक स्टेप को बहुत सोच के लेना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि वहां पे गलती की गुंजाइश कम होती है। तो तो बिहार गवर्नमेंट में जब हम लोगों ने काम किया, वी डिड सम वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग्स। हमने एक सिंगल विंडो अप्रूवल प्रोसेस लॉन्च किया, जहां हम लोग अगर आप मान लीजिए आप बिहार में एक फैक्ट्री डालना चाहते हैं, तो आपको 16 अलग डिपार्टमेंट से जाके क्लियरेंस लेने की जरूरत होती थी। उसको हमने एक सिंगल फॉर्म बना के एक सिंगल विंडो प्रोसेस स्टार्ट किया। तो इन सब चीजों को इम्प्लीमेंट करने में बहुत टाइम लगता है एंड क्योंकि जो भी आप जब when you start peeling the layers of the onion, you realize that everything has been put in place for a reason. Now, some of those reasons might not be valid anymore, but the institutional memory about those reasons is so strong that there's a lot of resistance when it comes to change. And that resistance is for a good reason, because अगर आप बिना सोचे समझे चेंज कर दे तो आपको पता नहीं है कि उसका डोमिनो इफेक्ट होगा। तो बहुत देर तक बहुत धीरे से बहुत इत्मीनान से समझ के आपको सारी चेंजेस करनी पड़ती हैं, लेकिन जब आप वो चेंजेस कर दें और उसको आप इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की स्टेज पे ले आए, तो जो इम्पैक्ट आ सकता है वो बड़ा सिग्निफिकेंट होता है। सो द कैनवस दैट यू गेट टू प्ले विद जब आप सरकार में या सरकार के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, वो इतना मैग्निफिसेंटली लार्ज होता है दैट इट इज अ ट्रेमेंडस सर्विंग अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर, एटलीस्ट इट वाज फॉर अ पर्सन लाइक मी, जिसने प्राइवेट सेक्टर में काफी काम किया था उसके पहले।
उत्कर्ष, जैसा आपने बताया कि इसी चीज को अगर हम एक प्राइवेट सेक्टर से कंपेयर करें तो उसमें क्या क्या आप डिफरेंस देखेंगे वर्किंग स्टाइल में, वर्किंग स्ट्रक्चर में?
See, I think I was lucky that even when I worked in government, I was working with people who were very, very driven. And especially because we were working so closely with the CM, there was a lot of focus on delivery. तो हम लोग we were not in a mode जहाँ पे कि endless deliberations होते हैं लेकिन काम नहीं होता है। ऐसे कुछ कुछ डिपार्टमेंट्स थे जहाँ पे कि हम लोग को, जब हम लोग जाते थे तो हम लोग को लगता था कि अरे इतना टाइम क्यों लग रहा है, बट फ्रैंकली बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस उसमें वर्किंग स्टाइल्स में मुझे नहीं देखा, बिकॉज सरकार में कॉन्ट्ररी टू पॉपुलर बिलीफ, all the especially the IAS officers and even the others that I have interacted with, they have all been very focused on delivery, because अगर आप एक ऐसे ऑफिसर हैं जो डिलीवर करने की क्षमता रखते हैं, तो फिर आपका नाम होता है, देन उससे आपकी जो प्रोग्रेस होती है उसको उसके लिए ऑफिसर्स आर हंग्री. So if you are lucky enough to interact with the right set of officers, and even now we work very closely with very many different government bodies and PSUs, and I have had the good fortune perhaps of only interacting with officers who are very focused on doing well. And so I would not say that the only difference is that private sector may you're compensated more immediately and more handsomely for your efforts. In the public sector, the rewards are more internal. The impact that you create is the reward that you get. And over time, you rise to the top. The power and the prestige that brings, that is a reward. So it is a slower, more long term gain when you are in the public sector. But I think that in terms of the motivations of the people who are in the spaces, काफी similarity है. See, good people work well wherever they are.
राइट. सिंस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्सपीरियंस, और आपने जैसे अपना ब्रिज वाटर वाला एसोसिएट्स मेंशन किया, एंड हर एक प्रोजेक्ट आपके लिए एक नया एक्सपीरियंस लाता है, स्पेशली व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट समथिंग लाइक ब्रिज वाटर, एक लार्ज स्केल ट्रांजैक्शन जहाँ पे हैंडल करना पड़ता है, वो एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहता है? हाउ चैलेंजिंग, रिस्की और इंटरेस्टिंग इज दैट?
See, Bridgewater was a very interesting experience. Especially, I got that job about 2-3 years out of college, and very soon I was managing people over there. So it was Bridgewater is a small firm but a large firm. I mean, the number of people in Bridgewater at that time was about 1,000. It had experienced a tremendous amount of growth, and it is one of the most significant hedge funds of the industry. तो वहां पे भी आप जो भी काम करते हैं उसका इम्पैक्ट बहुत बड़ा होता है. हम लोग वी वर पार्ट ऑफ सम ऑफ द फर्स्ट ओवर देयर. hedge fund industry में typically hedge funds grow in a very chaotic way. It's very founder driven, and Bridgewater wanted to create a culture जहाँ पे कि बहुत सारी चीजें जो founder driven होती हैं वो institutionalize हो जाए. So it was very interesting to at that stage in my career to encounter a system जहाँ पे कि एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैकेनिज्म को बिल्ड करने की एक फोकस जहां पे था. और उसको बिल्ड करने का तरीका क्या होता है। तो जैसे हम लोगों ने अपने बैक ऑफिस का सेल किया, तो वी
राइट,
सोल्ड आवर बैक ऑफिस टू बैंक ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क। उस प्रोसेस को समझना, क्लीविंग आउट ऑल द थिंग्स व्हिच हैड ग्रोन ऑर्गेनिकली, और जो चीजें ऑर्गेनिकली ग्रो करती हैं वो बहुत क्योटिकली ग्रो करती हैं, तो उसको
करेक्ट,
सफाई से काट के शरीर से अलग करके एक नई एंटिटी में देना वाज अ very rewarding experience for 20 something year old me. At the same time, working in an organization like that, you also realize, उसके पहले मैंने कंसल्टिंग की थी। तो कंसल्टिंग में आप कहीं पे भी जाते हैं तो 3 से 6 महीने के लिए आप वहां होते हैं, एंड यू आर अ गेस्ट, सो यू ऑलवेज ट्रीटेड विद एक अतिथि संस्कार के साथ आपको को ट्रीट किया जाता है कि आप रहने के लिए नहीं आए। ब्रिज वाटर वॉज अ प्लेस जहाँ पे कि आई वॉज अ फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉई एंड आई वॉज मेंट टू स्टे देयर। So that transition for me personally was an interesting one, and it was a good experience to take ownership on a more long term basis. And Bridgewater encouraged that a lot as well. Agar aap wahan, I was a manager over there, so as a manager, you were allowed and encouraged to take a lot of ownership and deliver.
ऑलराइट। उत्कर्ष, थोड़ा सा क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग की बात कर लेते हैं। आपने 2009
जी,
में आईबीएम के लिए क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी बनाई थी। उस टाइम पे बहुत ज़्यादा
जी,
यूनिक और नया कॉन्सेप्ट था। अब सिंस इट्स बीन
जी।
इन रेज और इतना इवॉल्व हो चुका है, तो आपके हिसाब से अगर एक इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट की एक पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें, तो कितना ये टेक्नोलॉजी इवॉल्व हुई है और इसका आने वाले टाइम में क्या फ्यूचर है?
Absolutely. See, I think that was my first assignment at BCG when I joined them full time. And
राइट,
cloud computing की बात करें तो उस समय उसको हम लोग ना, big data was not a word, cloud compute was not a word. These were just things that we were encountering. I was part of a team where we were trying to think about how this whole ecosystem is going to evolve. So it was a
राइट,
very blue sky exercise, and we were trying to understand what the cost implications are. So cloud computing उस समय 2000 I think 8 की बात है, उस समय हम लोग जब देख रहे थे तो it was the idea was to see कि data center costs कैसे scale करेंगे over time, and how
राइट,
does scale affect the cost mechanics. Now, from where we were back then to now, more than 15, 20 years later, the difference is phenomenal. I don't think any one of us in that room, when we were talking to IBM or thinking and coming up with these strategy, could have anticipated that the pace is going to be as exponential as it has been, and the repercussions of that, whether it is in terms of compute, whether it is in terms of AI/ML, the repercussions have been far greater than any one of us could have anticipated at that time. So I think it is cloud compute की specifically बात करें तो जो there cloud is something which will come and go and come and go. There's a sinusoidal wave to many of these things. तो जब ऑन प्रेमिस कंप्यूट की क्षमता जो है वो लिमिट हो जाती है, तो फिर आप क्लाउड में कंप्यूट स्टार्ट करते हैं, एंड व्हेन द बैंडविड्थ कनेक्टिविटी इंप्रूव्स अ लॉट, देन देयर इज सम एक्सपोनेंशियल इंप्रूवमेंट इन चिप फैब्रिकेशन, जैसे एक्सयूवी के कारण हुआ है. So then it
राइट।
becomes on device again. So it keeps going through these cycles, and I think we'll continue to experience these cycles. But the pace of switching between these cycles has become a lot quicker now.
ऑलराइट। उत्कर्ष, सिंस यू आर एसोसिएटेड विद फिनटेक आल्सो, तो अगर इंडिया के केस में
जी.
बात करें तो क्या नया इनोवेशन देखा जा सकता है इन नेक्स्ट फ्यू इयर्स?
Uh, See, fintech is a space which I think is going to. It had a premature boom, and now we are in a space of where now we are in a zone of a bit of a lull. और इस
राइट,
लल में आई थिंक जो चीजें अभी निकल के आएंगी, दोज विल बी वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट एंड वेरी मीनिंगफुल. एंड द रीजन इज दैट जब जब इस टाइप की चीजों में कोई लल होता है, दैट इज व्हेन द मोस्ट मीनिंगफुल इनोवेशंस सर्वाइव एंड कम आउट ऑन द अदर साइड. So if you think about, so I was a part of a fintech committee of an industry body for about 2 or 3 years after I came to India. एंड उस समय एंड इट जस्ट सो हैपेंड दैट उसी समय डिमोनेटाइजेशन भी हुआ. So naturally, that created a lot of interest in that ecosystem, especially when it came to the payment infrastructure. And it was a time where it was very ripe for disruption because उसी समय mobile penetration बहुत improve
राइट,
किया था. Device, everybody had a device. Those devices were more or less always smart devices, and payment is nothing but identity and consent. So as long as I can identify you, and as long as I can, reliably take your consent, a payment transaction can occur.
राइट,
And then it's just about, making changes into a database. So it was a time which was very ripe for this kind of an innovation, and a lot of companies got a lot of funding and they did really well. Usi samay, whether it is peer-to-peer lending, whether it is small finance, those all these fields saw a lot of traction, a lot of kind of activity. Since then, I think the euphoria of the 2017, 18, 19
Right.
peak has come down significantly, and I think it's healthy that it has come down, because in most of these spaces, where just be tech space की आप बात करें, उसमें these kind of boom and bust cycles are a natural part of that ecosystem, and it is required for separating the wheat from the chaff. अगर आप सिर्फ boom cycle में चलते रहेंगे तो फिर if everybody is doing well, then nobody is doing well. What will emerge out of the current
Utkarsh, your screen is freezing. I can't hear you. Utkarsh, your screen has been freezed. I can't hear you.
Sorry, is it better now?
Yeah, it's fine now. Please continue.
Okay. So अभी इस crop में जो निकल के आएगा, I think that is going to be extremely meaningful, and we're going to see innovations when it comes to personal finance. We're going to see innovation when it comes to payment. We're going to see a lot of innovation when it comes to the data on top of it. But that said, I mean, what we also realize is that there's always a reversion to mean. So every innovation over time starts looking like a bank and starts behaving like a bank, right? Because
Right.
the money is to be made in lending. So that reversion to mean will happen. What will end up happening is that with the enablement of technology, the quality of life of a consumer is going to be better. The quality of the service that they're getting is better. So that is, we will all continue to interact with a bank in a different form, and the data that we are giving them is going to help them make our lives better. That is that I think is the main crux of the innovation that fintech is going to see.
उत्कर्ष, जब हम बात करते हैं एक्सपीरियंसेस की, तो व्हाट वी जनरली से इज कि जहाँ हम पढ़ते हैं, जैसा हमारा चाइल्डहुड रहता है, वो बेसिकली हमारे ओपिनियंस को शेप करता है. एंड यू बीन वेरी लकी टू गेट एजुकेशन फ्रॉम प्रेस्टिजियस इंस्टीट्यूट्स लाइक ऑक्सफोर्ड एंड एमआईटी, राइट? तो किस तरह से इतने प्रेस्टिजियस बैकग्राउंड से आने के बाद उसने आपके पर्सपेक्टिव को शेप करने में हेल्प की, और आपके एक एंटरप्रेन्योर जर्नी में आपका एक एक स्टार्ट जैसे हुआ, या आपकी एंटरप्रेन्योर जर्नी जो एक शेप अप हुई उसकी वजह से, उसका क्या आपके एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड का असर पड़ा?
आई थिंक उससे भी पहले आई वुड से डीपीएस, जहाँ पे कि मैंने डीपीएस आदिपुर में मैंने अपनी स्कूलिंग की. I think that was one of the most significant shapers of my personality, because I was lucky enough to be appointed head boy when I was over there, and as a head boy in a school like DPS, you have to be an entrepreneur. So I think
Right.
my entrepreneurial journey started over there. हम लोग बहुत events वगैरह organize करते थे. We had a target to make sure that the events are profitable. So it was a very, very fun journey, and then more importantly, I think I was very lucky in having the kind of teachers that I did, who always made it feel like whatever we want to do was possible.
There is a
So
saying that
and I
dip
was
sides make a very good businessman. जो भी DPS से पढ़ के निकलते हैं, they make a very good businessman. Is it so? Dip sides are very good
I
in
would not be
business.
surprised. I would not be
That's
surprised. I think I would not be surprised. I think DPS का ये भी reputation है कि हम लोग एक factory है जिससे कि सारे बच्चे IIT जाते हैं, and I think that was also true.
right,
I
right.
myself personally got scared of the IIT journey, which is why I decided to go to MIT, because I thought it would be easier. But frankly, I think the teachers that we had over there, more importantly, my parents, who have always, despite being from a government background, they have always made us believe, my brother and I, that हम लोग जो भी करना चाहते हैं हम कर सकते हैं. So I remember when I decided not to do my IIT JEE की तैयारी नहीं करके मैं SAT देके बाहर जाऊंगा. My parents did not flinch at my decision, and they allowed me to pursue it. And that was the reason that I was able to take such a risky call at that point, because if I didn't get scholarship, I wouldn't have been able to go. So, I think as a child, if you are not taught fear, a child is born with two fears.
Right.
The two inherent fears that a child has is fear of loud noises and fear of falling. Every other fear that we have in our lives is a fear that we have learned. So
Right.
thankfully, I was lucky that many of the fears that other people have been taught by their parents were not taught to me. The fear of failure, fear of those things, and so we were able to do things which normally you self-select yourself out of.
Right. Utkarsh, you have a very vast experience in fundraising. तो जब हम किसी एमएसएमई के लिए और किसी एक बड़े टेक फर्म के लिए एक फंड रेज करते हैं, तो दोनों की अप्रोच में क्या डिफरेंस एक जो आता है?
आई थिंक एमएसएमई के लिए इंडिया में एमएसएमई फंड रेजिंग इज अ बिट ऑफ अ प्रॉब्लम व्हिच नीड्स सोल्यूशन बिकॉज India में MSMEs are mostly raising debt capital. And that is a very limiting way of growing, because
Right.
debt is essentially capital that you have to pay back. Equity capital is when you're selling a stake in your company, and so the person is inherently more long term. That capital, especially if it is raised as primary capital, is capital which is deployed for growth. So India में it's like अगर आप किसी भी युद्ध में जाते हैं और आपके दो हाथ है और आप एक हाथ अपने पीठ के पीछे बांध के जाएं, तो आप शायद एक हाथ से बहुत अच्छा लड़ाई कर लेंगे, लेकिन अगर दोनों हाथ आपके पास रहते तो you could have done better. So India में most businesses are going into battle only with debt and not with equity as a tool in their arsenal. And that limits our growth. If you see any economy which has done really well, there's been a phase where MSMEs in that economy grew with equity capital. In India, it is a bit of a chicken and egg problem still. अगर आप नॉन टेक कंपनी है तो इक्विटी कैपिटल आपके पास उतना उसकी अवेलेबिलिटी भी कम है और उसका एपेटाइट भी कम है, बिकॉज अभी भी इंडियन बिजनेसेस में इक्विटी को सेलिंग इक्विटी इज ऑलमोस्ट सीन एज सेलिंग द फैमिली गोल्ड. तो अगर आप किसी से भी बात करें तो वो बोलते अरे उनको पार्टनरशिप देनी पड़ी या शेयर
Right.
बेचना पड़ा. तो ये जो पड़ी वाला और पड़ा वाला जो एटीट्यूड है उसके कारण हम लोग अपने आप को लिमिट कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज इट्स सीन एज अ नेगेटिव. कि अरे उसके पिताजी का अचानक देहांत हो गया इसलिए बेटी ने जब नया कंपनी टेक ओवर किया तो शी ब्रॉट ऑन अ पार्टनर. उस टाइप की मेंटालिटी होती है. इट्स ऑलवेज सम एडवर्सिटी ड्रिवन रादर देन बीइंग an opportunity where you sell equity, you raise primary capital, and you hypercharge your growth. So MSME में fundraising is equity fundraising is definitely something which has a long way to go in India. When it comes to when it comes to tech in India, I think equity capital has done phenomenally well. And in fact, the reason India is a tech destination is because of the amount of tech capital, the equity capital that has been deployed into the space. चाहे वो 2005 से 8-10 के साइकिल में हो, 2000 से 12-13 के साइकिल में हो, 14 के बाद के साइकिल में हो, government itself has started, these really good funds. चाहे वो FFS scheme हो जो कि SIDBI administer करता है, या फिर NSIC का Self Reliant India Fund हो. These are both funds which have done extremely well in seeding a number of VC funds in India, because of which there's a great amount of equity capital which is available, and because of which companies which have long-term visions are able to grow. Because you are not going to be, if you have a very long-term vision, revenue might be something which is 5-7 years down the line. You need to put in a lot of money to grow, and the only way you can support that kind of growth is with equity capital. So I think टेक और नॉन टेक में बस जो डिफरेंस आ जाता है वो इक्विटी का. अगर हम लोग वही माइंडसेट नॉन टेक एमएसएमईज में भी लगा के इक्विटी कैपिटल के थ्रू ग्रो कर सकें, आई थिंक इंडिया विल डू फिनोमिनली वेल.
Of course, the reason I'm talking about MSMEs is because पिछले कई सालों में ना ये टर्म बहुत ज़्यादा वाइडली स्प्रेड हुआ है. अगर हम बजट की बात करें तो इतना कुछ खास उसके लिए एलोकेट नहीं हो पाता, और कहीं ना कहीं मतलब वो चीज़ दब के रह जाती है एमएसएमई सेक्टर जो है. तो क्या आपको लगता है कि अभी भी ये एक अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर की कैटेगरी में आता है और अभी भी बहुत कुछ है जो गवर्नमेंट को एमएसएमई के लिए करना चाहिए? बिकॉज जनरली अगर आप इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखें तो वी हैव अ वेरी लार्ज नंबर जो आपको एमएसएमई की कैटेगरी में मिलती है, राइट?
नहीं, ये बात आपकी बिल्कुल सही है. आई थिंक my personal view on this is that the government should not be in the business of business. Their task should be to stay away. The only thing they can do is the kind of stuff that they have done, say with the two schemes that I talk about, Self-Reliant India Fund of NSIC and FFS scheme of SIDBI, where they have created a pool of capital जिससे कि third parties आके funds खोल सकते हैं और उस fund को use करके they can support growth. The other thing where the government could do well is in terms of having a very stable and predictable tax regime, so that there's no retroactive taxation, nothing to kind of scare people away. अगर ये दो चीजें सरकार करे and then they let the entrepreneurial energy of the ecosystem go, I think there's a lot of possibility for MSMEs to do well in India. And I agree with your point that अभी इंडिया में MSMEs बहुत scattered है. There is a significant need for consolidation. There's a significant need for companies to come together and grow and reap the advantages of scale, जो कि अभी तक बहुत सारे sectors में नहीं हो पाया है. Where if you look at our non-tech MSME competitors in other growing economies, like say Thailand, like say even Bangladesh, the garment sector agar aap dekheं, if you look at Indonesia, we look at Vietnam, what is happening over there is that a lot of these companies जो कि एक scale तक पहुंचती हैं, उसके बाद there's M&A activity, there's consolidation, because of which they get the advantages of scale, and with those advantages of scale, they're then able to do much better, much quicker. That
Right.
is significantly lesser in India at this point, and I think those things also, I feel my personal view is that the coming decade will be a decade of consolidation and growth. Um, Already we see that a lot is happening in the tech manufacturing space. So
Right.
if you
Right.
see, India is one of the largest makers of iPhone, right? And
Right.
I personally would not have imagined that even 3 years ago, right? So the PLI scheme का ये एक बहुत significant success है, and schemes like that create an ecosystem around. So if today you're manufacturing iPhones in India, but you're importing a bunch of your components internationally, tomorrow there's an opportunity for an Indian firm to raise their hand and fill that gap, so that you can source locally and have the advantages of more predictable supply chains and less expensive supply chains, and that creates the consolidation opportunity around it. So I think these pockets become very significant in terms of creating the next level of growth.
राइट, राइट, राइट। उत्कर्ष, अगर फाइनेंस और टेक की बात करें तो दोनों में आपकी बहुत डीप नॉलेज है, और अगर मैं इसके फ्यूचर की बात करूं तो कहीं ना कहीं क्या आप इन दोनों को कन्वर्ज होते हैं, स्पेशली एआई के साथ?
Frankly, not, Tawraji. I think tech is an enabler in everything.
ओके।
So, like we talked earlier about fintech, right? So, I think what will happen, everything will is eventually resemble a bank in the finance space, because that is a model that makes money. People have solved this in ancient India and ancient Sumer, thousands of years ago. A bank is a model that works. Uh,
राइट।
but that bank has constantly been disrupted by technology. Pehle, a bank, the reason Rothschilds were able to create a banking empire was because there was the mechanism of establishing trust was through the family bloodline. Now,
राइट।
that was the technology that they had at that time. When that technology evolved and there was verifiable printing that could be done, and that printing had weight, then that was the next wave of technology that disrupted finance. Then it was disrupted by electricity. It was disrupted by telex. It was disrupted by fax. It is now being disrupted by cloud and big data. So there'll always be disruption, and that will make the life of the consumer better. Your redemptions will be quicker. Your security will be higher. So there'll always be advantages to that tech brings to finance. If you think about the non-consumer space, you think about the kind of space that we operate in investment banking. Tech has always been We have always been early adopters of tech. So when it comes to we banks were one of the first to get computers into every associate and analyst, so that they could churn numbers better, right? Rather than using a calculator and a slide rule, if you can do it on Excel, your productivity goes up manifold. Now with the advent of AI, ML, machine learning, chat GPT, those are things that banks are adopting a lot more quickly. So I think uh, as an enabler, it will be very significant. I think I don't see it becoming a replacement for anything, but as an enabler, I think it is significant. When it comes to technology, the technology sector again is a very vast thing. I think the most significant thing we are seeing there is the rise of AI/ML, is the rise of machine learning, is the rise of intelligent generative AI, and
राइट।
how that shapes and reshapes the industries that we are in is almost impossible for someone like me to predict. And if I knew how to predict that well, then I would probably be in a different business and kind of start doing that myself. But it is going to be significant. I think the way that our children learn is going to be very different. My daughter is going to be learning very differently from the way that I learn.
राइट।
Her relationship with technology is going to be very different from mine. The How native she is with certain techs is going to be very different. That was true for me as well, right? So I mean, my comfort with computers is way more than my dad or my mom's comfort with computers. हालांकि उन लोगों ने भी सीखा है, but they learned it as a second language, and I learned it as a first language. Similarly, when it comes to my daughter, there are things that she uses as first language, which for me is second language. So I
Absolutely.
think the nativity of technology, keeps getting changed with every generation, and therefore that generation is able to do more with it.
राइट, राइट। उत्कर्ष, हमने अभी फंड रेजिंग अप्रोच की बात करी थी कि कैसे छोटे और बड़े सेक्टर में दोनों की अप्रोच बदल जाती है। थोड़ा बात कर लेते हैं, अगर
जी।
एज एन इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट आपने क्या एक ऐसी कॉमन मिस्टेक देखी है जो जनरली फाउंडर्स या फिर लोग फंड रेजिंग की जर्नी में करते हैं? क्या एक कॉमन मिस्टेक देखी?
I think two mistakes hai. One is that people try to oversell.
Mm-hmm.
One, that is a very significant mistake. I think, when you are making, it is one of the most intimate and one of the most long-term relationships that you will get into as a founder is
Right.
with your investor. So uska, having the good investor will always value your honesty and your mistakes. So अगर आपने कुछ गलती की है या if you're struggling, having that conversation upfront and having that conversation transparently is a significant advantage. Uh, I think surprises are something that investors, really dislike. So
Hmm.
anything that they know about and they can plan around is good news. Anything which they don't know about and they can't plan around is bad news. So the worst thing that you can do as a founder is oversell yourself. Um, the second mistake that I see founders make very frequently is that unko, they don't understand that they need that capital to get to the number that they have in their mind. So valuation को लेके बहुत चिक चिक करते हैं founders, and and the problem over there is that if you are thinking that अगर आप अपने future unicorn का आज share बेच रहे हैं, तो
Right.
फिर आप you will always think यार मैंने उसको $1 billion का 10% दे दिया, right?
Right.
Whereas 10% of zero is zero, right? So you are at zero right now. So think about how you're going to get to that unicorn status, rather than thinking about that unicorn today and over negotiating on the stake that you're going to get. And because pace becomes very important. Somebody who gets to market quickly and decisively is going to win over somebody who is over haggling and trying to get the best deal. So I think हम लोगों की एक tendency होती है to over negotiate because we feel that negotiation itself is a victory,
Right.
and that negotiation itself is an objective. You have to understand that that is not an objective. That is a step. और उस
Right.
step में अगर आप ज़्यादा time बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, then you're missing the larger objective. So those are the two most significant mistakes that I've seen founders make: either overselling or misstating fact, or over negotiating and losing time.
All right. So you just have to be adopt the middle path for that. Don't
You have to
overdo
be
it.
quick and
Underdo it.
decisive. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. इसका मतलब ये भी नहीं है that you go to the first person and you take whatever offer you're getting. You have to be
Right.
intelligent
Right.
about it, but you also have to you have to give some value to speed and execution.
राइट राइट उत्कर्ष आजकल हम देखें बहुत सारी कंपनी सस्टेनेबिलिटी और एथिकल बिजनेस प्रैक्टिसेस के बारे में बात कर रही है सो डू यू थिंक ये टेक और फाइनेंस सेक्टर में गेम चेंजर हो सकता है
See, I mean, my view on that might be a little politically incorrect. I think now every business has to be ethical. Well, if you're not ethical, it is not good business. Every business has to be sustainable, because if you're not sustainable, then it is not good business. You're not going to be, and I think some of the market mechanisms that have come in place to police that are good. Whether the fact that agar aap, आज से 20 साल पहले अगर आप if you were dumping refuse illegally, then you could get away with it. And today, if you're somebody can put a video of you on Twitter, and that will tank your what do you call it, market cap. So that is good policing, and I think that's good. But I think both these things, for their own sake, are a business it's got to be focused on its core metrics, and its core metrics are to do well. And it cannot do well without being ethical. It cannot do well without being sustainable, right? But I don't like people, making. I think people, there's a saying that virtuous people don't show their virtue. So, like, I think good businesses, who are, they are ethical. Good businesses are sustainable. They don't make a big show and dance about it. That's the way you do business. That's just how it is.
I think being ethical is the part of sustainability. That's that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's the way to doing well in business. Is the way to
Right, right.
profitability. If tomorrow I decide to make unethical practices the norm at Bexley will not survive. Right? हो सकता है 5 साल तक I'll have a phenomenal run, and there are countless examples from history. Look at Enron. Look at any spectacular fame out. Enron was one of the largest companies in the world in the energy space. Their practices were so unethical that they just blew up spectacularly. So any company in this day and age which is not ethical is not going to survive. So it makes logical sense for you as a businessman or a businesswoman to make sure that your company acts and works ethically.
उत्कर्ष, आज जो हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं, स्पेशली उनमें सबसे ज़्यादा जो एक हम बोलेंगे कि एक सेगमेंट है सबसे ज़्यादा जेनजीज का जो हमें देखता है, एंड आई थिंक देयर इज अ
जी
रेज इन दिस जनरेशन टू बिगिन समथिंग विद देयर स्टार्टअप, सम ओन बिजनेस। तो एज अ फाउंडर, आप एज एन इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट, आपको एक क्या उनको गाइडेंस देना चाहेंगे, क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगे? क्योंकि जो ये जनरेशन है, इसमें प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग जो एक एटीट्यूड होता है वो थोड़ा कम होता जा रहा है, अगर हम देखें तो कंपेरेटिवली टू द प्रीवियस जनरेशन। वो पैसा लगाने के लिए रेडी है, वो ग्रो करने के लिए रेडी है, बट जब चैलेंजेस आते हैं तो उनको लगता है अरे इट्स द एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। तो एज अ फाउंडर, एज एन इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट, व्हाट इज योर स्पेशल मैसेज स्पेशली टू द जेनजीज हु वांट टू स्टार्ट समथिंग ऑफ देयर ओन?
two things. One, I slightly disagree with you. My interactions with the generation have been very positive to the extent that I feel like, one of the things which my generation lacked and the generations before mine lacked even more was there was an inordinate amount of reverence. We were very reverential growing up. तो हम लोग अपने से बड़े को एक रिस्पेक्ट तो देते ही थे, बट उनकी we used to bow down to the ways that existed before us in a lot more convincingly. This generation does not believe that, and the generation after the Gen Z, my daughter's generation, does not believe it even more. So they do not believe कि जो हमारे से पहले हुआ है वो सही है. So they're very used to change, they're very accustomed to change, and they're very used to the fact that what we have seen before is not how the way the world has to operate going forward. So that irreverence, I think, is very valuable. I think when it comes to work ethics, I have encountered, like in every generation, I've encountered people who are very good workers. I've encountered people who are very lazy. So I think that is, irrespective of the generation, that is a very individual thing. The only thing that I will say is that, given the distractions, the challenge for this generation is the fact that it is going to be a generation which has an inordinate amount of distractions thrown its way. I don't know, when you grew up, but when I grew up, start with, there was only Doordarshan. The only time we would watch TV was Sunday, jab, DuckTales aata tha, right? So we had very little exposure to media. Then it was a time of Star World and Star News and all of that, and then we had a very editorialized exposure to media, right? Now media is explosive and it's everywhere, and it is non-editorialized. So what you will get is going to be algorithmically fed, and it is going to be something which always reinforces what you are already predisposed towards. So आपको self editorialism की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है. You have to be very conscious about what you're consuming, and as a result of that, you have to be very conscious about what you feel is your worldview and how correct is that worldview. So just because so you have to question your motivations a lot more than we had to in our, हमारे time में pathways were a lot more kind of set. The pathways are a lot more fluid today, and therefore you have to be, in this generation, a lot more conscious about your own decision making and whether you're taking the right decisions, whether you're being guided by the right factors. And so I think the short answer to your question is that be less euphoric and be more analytical.
उत्कर्ष, आपने एक्सपोजर की बात करी, तो मैं ये लास्ट में
जी
ये पूछना चाहूंगी, इन टर्म्स ऑफ बिजनेस और स्टार्टअप, अगर हम एक्सपोजर को देखें, सो इज इट एन एडवांटेज और अ डिसएडवांटेज कि आपके पास बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपोजर है इसलिए आप स्पून फेड फील करते हैं और ज़्यादा चीज़ों को एक्सप्लोर करने की ज़रूरत नहीं समझते? डू यू थिंक इट्स एन एडवांटेज और अ डिसएडवांटेज?
I think the way it is happening right now, it is disadvantage, and the reason for that is I like the point that I made about editorialism, right? Pehle, I remember for me, I'm forgetting whether it was I think it was Wednesday night at 8 p.m. BBC पे Horizons आता था, and Fridays को Tomorrow's World आता था, right? So all my exposure and my interest in technology grew from those two programs, right?
Right.
But I knew exactly what I'm getting, and somebody far more intelligent than me was making those choices in terms of what a 10-year-old boy should see, and I was being able to experience that. Today, my 10-year-old daughter does not have access to that. What for her, it has to be a lot. Either I and my wife have to take that call. Somebody has to take that call in terms of what they're experiencing,
Right.
right? But the advantage comes that in case we are able to make good calls about that, the number of things that we can expose her to is far greater than what my parents could have done with me, right? So my parents, even if they wanted me to see the moon landing, they could not have shown it to me because उस समय वो टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं, वो कैसेट लाते कहीं से, वो कहीं बाहर फॉरेन ट्रिप होता तो उनको एक कैसेट मिलता, वो लेके आते था, मैं देखता. Today if I want to show my daughter SpaceX ka launch, it is as easy as going to YouTube and SpaceX's website. So as long as you're able to make conscious choices, it's much better today. But the problem is that most of the times, 99.9 Six Sigma cases, those choices are not being made, and you're being algorithmically fed whatever is the lowest common denominator, right? So I mean, I know that if I see something on YouTube which is very massy, very entertainment, for the next 5 days, my YouTube feed is going to be polluted by that, right? So I have to be very conscious about how my feed is being done. But most people are not going to be able to do that. So the personal responsibility that has come on us, most of us are not aware of that responsibility.
So it varies from person to person, basically.
Yeah, I think it can be a tremendous opportunity, which is a tremendous bane right now. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So Utkarsh, I've pretty much covered everything. Is there you want to add from your side?
No, I think given the segment that the Gen Z segment that views you the most, I would just like to my message to them is I think this is the most exciting time to be growing up, and give yourself as many experiences as you can. Please make yourself suffer a little bit, and what I mean by that is take a job where you feel like you are being worked too hard, because the hard work that you put in right now is going to build the foundation of your work ethic. So I think I would love to see the Gen Z folks suffer as much as I did when I was an analyst, because I think that has built my character, and I'd love to pass on that same experience to you.
Absolutely, and that's a very lovely message for all the Gen Zs out there and listening to us. So can you see me, Utkarsh? Yeah.
Yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Utkarsh, for being with us and being with us on Founders Talk episode. इतना अच्छा meaningful conversation करने के लिए, sharing your insights, your experiences, and those messages for especially to our Gen Zs. Thank you so much for being with us.
It has been an absolute pleasure, Tawraji. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Utkarsh. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
So दोस्तों, ये थे हमारे साथ उत्कर्ष सिन्हा, बैकस्लाइड वाइजर के एमडी और फाउंडर, जिन्होंने हमारे साथ शेयर करी बहुत सारी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज और जेनजी को दिया एक खास मैसेज, जो अपना स्टार्टअप करना चाहते हैं या कुछ मीनिंगफुल लाइफ में करना चाहते हैं। तो अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छी लगी हो तो उसको लाइक करें, शेयर करें, सब्सक्राइब करें हमारे चैनल को और अपने सर्कल में शेयर करें, क्योंकि आई एम श्योर कोई ना कोई जो हमें देख रहा होगा वो अपना खुद का बिजनेस स्टार्ट करने का कहीं ना कहीं ज़रूर सोच रहा होगा, और अगर नहीं भी सोच रहा होगा तो क्या पता इस वीडियो को देख के उसको थोड़ी मोटिवेशन मिल जाए। सो व्हाट आर यू वेटिंग फॉर? जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें और कमेंट्स में बताएं क्या आपको अगले गेस्ट के रूप में किसको देखना है। बहुत सारा प्यार दें, तभी हमारा चैनल ग्रो करेगा और हम अच्छे गेस्ट को आपके लिए इन्वाइट कर पाएंगे। तब तक के लिए थैंक यू।